Have you ever been part of a love triangle and wondered if your lover is going to choose you or his wife? Stay tuned to learn a 6-card reading to help you figure it out. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we're learning how to read tarot one card at a time. In today's video, we'll be using a 6-card spread to answer the question, will my lover ever leave his wife? I will be using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, and there is a link below. This question was posted anonymously online, and here's what she said. Quote, my lover and I have been having an affair for more than 20 years. He keeps telling me that he will divorce his wife. Will they ever get divorced? Unquote. One of the things we need to do as tarot readers is to keep our thoughts out of the mix and actually read the cards. That was a challenge in this case because my first thought was, of course he's not going to divorce his wife. He's been stringing you along for more than 2 decades. Do you really need a tarot reading to tell you that? However, she didn't ask for my opinion. She asked for an interpretation of the cards, so that's what we'll be doing. The querent did not mention using a spread. However, I will be using the 6-card Truth and Clarity spread. Card number 1 represents the current path the lover is on, and she pulled the Magician. Card number 2 represents the influences guiding the lover's current path, and she pulled the 6 of Pentacles. Card number 3 represents the potential path if the lover stays, and she pulled the Moon. Card number 4 represents the potential path if the lover leaves, and she pulled the 7 of Cups. Card number 5 represents what needs to change for a divorce to occur, and she pulled the 6 of Cups. And card number 6 represents the overall guidance, and she pulled the 5 of Wands. Let's begin the reading with my first impression. The first thing I noticed was that there are multiple people in all but the first card. There are 3 people in the 6 of Pentacles, 3 animals in the Moon card, 3 figures in the 7 of Cups if you include the head and the shrouded figure at the top. There are 3 people in the 6 of Cups if you include the guard on the left side, and there are 5 people in the 5 of Wands. We have 2 major arcana cards, which are the Magician and the Moon, and we have 4 minor arcana cards. The Suit of Swords is missing. Otherwise, I feel like the cards are all over the place. So let's look at each card individually. Card number 1 represents the current path the lover is on, and she pulled the Magician. Without reading this card, let's start by thinking about what magicians do. Essentially, they are master manipulators. They understand psychology and know how to focus the audience's attention away from what they are actually doing. Often they use props to make their performances more believable. For instance, we've all seen the trick where they cut somebody in half, where there's actually 2 people in this specially designed box, one at the head with her legs squished up, and the other at the feet with her head squished up. In this reading, a prop could be a fake social media account or a fake appointment book. Basically, the lover's current path is that he's manipulating his mistress, and probably his wife. Now let's look at the Magician card. We see someone with a white robe that represents purity. In this case, I believe that he is making sure that he appears to be pure, but that is part of the deception. It's rather like wearing a white wedding dress when you're 8 months pregnant so that people will think that you're still a virgin. It's a good idea in theory, but the facts indicate otherwise. The Magician is wearing a belt with a snake eating its own tail. This is known as an Ouroboros. It has a long history, and I'll link to a Wikipedia article in the description box. It has several meanings that include destruction, renewal, a never-ending loop of lies and deceit, and how truth can be hidden beneath many layers of deception so that you can no longer tell what is true. I would imagine that a lover who carried on a 2-decade affair would be a master of deceit. We can see representation of all 4 elements on his work table: Cups, Pentacles, Swords, and Wands. The Magician has everything he needs to create his deception. Finally, I wanted to talk about the flowers. The red roses represent love and passion. White roses represent purity and forgiveness, and the white lilies represent purity and rebirth. So I believe that the flowers indicate that there is a lot of passion involved in the lover's relationships, likely with both his wife and the querent, but there is also a lot of them mistakenly believing that his intentions are pure and doing a lot of forgiveness. In summary, the lover's current path is one of a master manipulator who is using a lot of tools to deceive his wife and his mistress. Card number 2 represents the influences guiding the lover's current path, and she pulled the 6 of Pentacles. So here we have the lover standing and doling out coins to his wife or mistress. He's holding a scale in his hand, so he's keeping track and trying to be balanced. He's only giving the coins to one person at a time, and the other woman is forced to do without. I think that's a great metaphor for his relationship with his wife and mistress. The 3 people are standing on a stage. I think this indicates that the lover is acting. He's playing different roles depending on who he is with. He is telling his mistress what she wants to hear, which is that he'll be getting a divorce any day now, and he's probably telling his wife that he's putting in a lot of overtime to give her the life she deserves. This made me think of how narcissists behave. I can't point to precisely why I thought of this, but part of reading tarot cards is listening to your intuition, and that's what came to me. Narcissists are masters of controlling people. They want their victims to rely on them exclusively. One way is to isolate them from their social circle, which we can see by the 3 of them on the stage, far beyond the castle in the background. Another way of controlling the victims is financial, and we can see the lover handing out coins to one of them. If they don't do what he wants, they don't get the money. Another tactic of narcissists is to destroy the victim's self-confidence. Here we see the wife and mistress in tattered clothing while the lover wears expensive clothing. At some level, I think that the lover enjoys the power he yields over the 2 women in his life. The other thing that is guiding his path is money. I believe that money is likely the reason that he's not getting divorced. He is dressed like a wealthy man, and after an affair of more than 20 years, I'm sure that his wife would get a good settlement. Right now, he has money to dress sharply while his wife wears tattered clothing. Does he really want to divide his assets with his wife when he doesn't have to? On the other hand, the wife might not want a divorce either. She might have made a considered choice and decided that her standard of living will be better if she remains married. There might also be children involved, and she doesn't want to give up some of the nice things in her life, such as private schools or vacations. Or he's ruined her self-esteem to the point that she doesn't think she deserves anything better. In summary, I think the lover's current path is governed by 2 things. He enjoys having power over his wife and mistress, and he doesn't want to deal with the financial implications of a divorce. Card number 3 represents the potential path if the lover stays with his wife, and she pulled the moon. The moon always has a dark side. The moon represents fears, illusion, confusion, mysteries, things that are hidden, and deception. It represents the unconscious, which is something that we cannot see. Basically, things are not always as they seem. I think we're starting to see a theme here. Deception has come up in some manner in all of the cards we've read so far. In the moon, we see 3 figures, a dog, a wolf, and a crayfish. This card is about what happens if the lover stays with his wife. I believe that the wolf and dog represent the couple, and the crayfish represents the mistress who is looking on. She is emerging from the water, representing her unconscious, and onto land, which represents her conscious thoughts. She is looking at the couple and becoming aware of exactly what is going on. The dog and the wolf are opposites. The dog, which I believe represents the wife, is tame and civilized. The wolf, which I believe represents the husband, is wild and uncivilized. Together they form a balanced and functional unit in an opposite attracts kind of way. If the lover stays with his wife, things will continue as they already are because, at some level, their marriage is working. She may believe that, as we saw in the previous card, she will be left penniless in the case of a divorce. He will continue deceiving her, but she's made her decision to put up with it. If he breaks off with his mistress, he'll probably find another one. In summary, if the lover stays with his wife, not much will change. Yes, there will be a lot of deception going on, but they both have their roles in their marriage, and it works for them at some level. Card number 4 represents the potential path if the lover leaves, and she pulled the 7 of Cups. This shows that the lover has a lot of potential choices, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he'll choose the mistress. When the 7 of Cups appears in a reading, it can indicate that someone has too many choices, is indulging in wishful thinking, fantasies, or daydreams rather than making choices based on reality, or is so overwhelmed by choices that they procrastinate making a decision. I think that the lover would fall into the wishful thinking and fantasy category. He's already spent more than 2 decades juggling a wife and mistress. It feels like he'd want to see if there was someone better out there for him after all this time. We see that the lover has 7 choices as shown by the contents in each of the cups. If you watch my video about the 7 of Cups, which I'll link to in the description, you'll hear several differing opinions of what each cup represents. In this video, I'll use my own interpretation. In her book Understanding Tarot, Pam Richards asserts that the cups and their contents sit in gray clouds and so are not concrete or realistic, but merely daydreams, hopes, and wishes until choices are made and actions are taken. She says that each cup holds something different, which is designed to tempt and confuse the man. It makes me think that each cup represents an option for an affair beyond the mistress he is now seeing. The first cup has a woman's head or mask. This could represent a woman who he is proud to show off in public. The shrouded figure in the second cup could represent a private woman and a relationship that he would choose to keep hidden. The snake in the third cup could represent temptation and sexual desire. This could be someone with whom he wants to have a purely sexual relationship. The castle in the second row could represent safety and security. It could represent a woman who he feels that he would be emotionally safe with. The jewels represent an abundance of wealth. This could represent a wealthy woman that he could have a relationship with. The laurel wreath is for victory. This could represent a woman who he considers as a conquest. And the last cup has a devilish imp or wyvern. It leans over the cup looking as if it's going to pounce on him. Wyverns breathe frost. This could represent an exciting yet dangerous liaison. So the lover has lots of choices if he leaves, and I'm guessing it would not include his current mistress. We're talking about a narcissist here who is faced with a smorgasbord of choices that might be better than what he already has. Card number 5 represents what needs to change for a divorce to occur, and she pulled the 6 of Cups. I think that what needs to change for a divorce to occur is the wife needs to be out of the picture. One thing to notice is the heart-shaped flowers. Liz Dean, in her book The Ultimate Guide to Tarot, describes these as white datura flowers. They can be used in herbal potions as an aphrodisiac, poison, or hallucinogen. I know this may sound far-fetched, but maybe some kind of event happened. In the image on the card, we see the lover giving his wife attention, like he did when they were first together, and he gives her flowers that were actually poison. So he actually had a plan to get his wife out of the picture without having to pay for a divorce. Another interpretation is that the wife chose to leave for her own reasons. We can see a guard on the left side of the card, which I believe represents the wife walking away. In this case, I interpret the card as the lover giving all of his attention to a woman in his life. As I mentioned in the last card, I'm not convinced that is his current mistress. There are lots of cups around which indicate love. However, these cups are filled with flowers that can be aphrodisiacs, poisons, or hallucinogens, so I'm not sure that his feelings towards the woman is real or a delusion. He's had 20 years to figure out a way to spend time with his mistress and has chosen not to. I think it's more likely that he's going to woo somebody else. I don't think a divorce will happen organically at this point. Something has to happen to push his wife out of the picture. That might mean that the wife has some kind of an accident, such as she accidentally gets poisoned, or she decides to leave on her own accord. Card number 6 represents the overall guidance, and she pulled the 5 of Wands. So how does this answer the question, will my lover and his wife ever get divorced? Wands are about action, and in this card we see 5 teenage boys fighting with their wands in the air. They are all taking action, however they are all facing in different directions and they're not really getting anywhere. It's more like they are bickering or playing some kind of a game than trying to claim victory. They're not really going anywhere. This is the kind of fight that leaves participants energized instead of hurt. They clearly disagree, but they're sticking together as a unit and continuing to brawl rather than choosing to go their own ways. I think that this is what's happening with the lover and his wife. They want different things, they're going in different directions, but at the end of the day, it's all posturing and nothing will change. They are a unit and they will remain as such. It's always nice to see cards progress to some form of resolution. It didn't happen in this case, and we're left with a brawl. I think that the chaos of the lover and his wife's relationship is here to stay. So let's summarize what we learned about whether her lover and his wife are going to get divorced. In card number 1, the Magician, we learn that the lover is a master manipulator. He's appearing to be innocent, but in reality, he's using a lot of tools to manipulate his mistress and probably his wife. In card number 2, we looked at the influences that were guiding the lover's current path. We see the lover on a stage. I believe that he is a narcissist and playing whatever role he sees fit to control the women in his life, including using money as a means of control. I think the lover's current path is governed by 2 things. He enjoys having power over his wife and mistress, and he doesn't want to deal with potential financial losses that would occur if he got divorced. The Moon, which is card number 3, represents the potential path if the lover stays with his wife. Although the lover will continue with his deceptions, not much will change. The lover and his wife both have their roles in the marriage, and they will continue as a functioning unit. The 7 of Cups, which is card number 4, represents the potential path if the lover leaves. It's obvious that he will have a lot of choices, and as a narcissist, he will choose what he thinks is best for him. I don't think he will feel the need or desire to move on with his mistress. Card number 5, the 6 of Cups, represents what needs to change for a divorce to occur. And I think it means that either his wife chooses to leave or something happens that pushes her out of the picture. Finally, the 5 of Wands represents the overall guidance about whether the lover and his wife will ever get divorced. I don't think they will. I think they'll continue in their chaotic relationship that includes threats, bickering, and unhappiness. It's been working for 20 years, and I don't think it's going to change now. I do not see any indication that the lover and his wife will get divorced. I hope this video has given you some ideas that you can apply to your tarot readings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.